Hi, my name is Michaela Marvin, and I will be doing the Giving Voice to Values case number 3. Now, this case is called Taxes and the Cannabis Business. So, just a quick rundown of the case. Haley DeClaire is a CPA working on a tax return for one of her clients. Her client's name is Weed R Us, and this is a marijuana growing and distribution business. And she decides to report 100% of their cash sales on the tax return because that's you report 100% of your sales. And after she does that, the company calls and complains to her boss. Her boss is named Harry, and tells them that they don't want that. They want to cut some of their sales down on their tax return. After that phone call, Harry calls Haley into his office and they have this conversation. You can go ahead and read that. I will just be giving a little quick redone. Basically, Harry wants Haley to reduce the cash sales by 25% so that to comply with the client's wishes. He wants to do this because he wants more clientele in that field of business. Now, Harry has the right and authority to change the tax return without Haley's knowledge, but he wants her on board so when they bring in that clientele from marijuana growing and distribution, that she'll be more on board to do things like that in the future. He invites Haley to a meeting with the other partner on Monday to discuss the situation further, and Haley agrees to go. Now, I want you to put yourself in Haley's position. What would you do? How would you feel in this situation? I'm going to go over some of the questions asked in the case and kind of discuss what I think I might do or what I would think about in the situation. How might social and organizational pressures influence your position? Personally, part of your job is obeying what your boss tells you what to do, and that's how you do your job. And I'm sure Haley is feeling that, and also having that inner battle with herself. You might also ask some of yourself some of these questions, like what are the consequences of saying no or versus saying yes? Is this going to affect her job? Is it going to affect future employment at other jobs? What will her peers think? What will she think of herself? So many questions that she could be asking. What role might cognitive dissonance play in developing your position? So cognitive dissonance is when your beliefs and your actions don't line up with each other. So if Haley believed it was wrong, but she did it anyway, that's that feeling, that tug between. So something has to give. Either she has to change her beliefs or change her actions. I think in this case, especially putting myself in her shoes, I think bringing your actions back to your beliefs is going to help the most, because that would help you do the right thing, the more ethical thing to do. Now let's think of the narrative that might be going on in that conversation meeting that she's having with her bosses on Monday. So just consider some of the following questions. What are the reasons and rationalizations you need to address? I think the first one is the right thing to do, the lawful thing to do is report 100% of sales. The clientele is not worth the risk. If the IRS, anyone, government finds out that this firm is assisting in tax fraud, it's shut down. And the people who work there are going to have a hard time finding jobs in the future. We see that in tax and scandals all the time. And also tax fraud is illegal. So I feel like that's a good point to bring up. What is at stake for the key parties? For the firm, being shut down, being exposed for assisting in tax fraud, potential loss of licenses, and the new clientele that they're looking for, is it really worth it or not? The client being exposed for tax fraud. For Haley, she could lose her job, she can lose her license and future opportunities, but also she would be selling her integrity if she agreed to move forward. What are levels you can use to influence those who disagree with you? Speaking to other employees of the firm, like other accountants, maybe the other partner before the meeting on Monday, to try to get them on her side so she has people backing her up. She also could just bring up the law or just defend herself, because she might have to jeopardize her job. What is the most powerful and persuasive arguments you need to address? To whom and when, in what context? I think in this case, the most powerful is the idea of tax fraud and the laws behind it. The firm's reputation and operability is at stake. Also, when it should be brought up, I think she should bring it up as early in the meeting as possible, because like, you've got to lead with your strongest case. You've got to lead with what you believe. And that is kind of my thoughts on this case. And what would you do? What would I do? What should Haley do? I think the right thing is what we believe, and the right thing is to stand up for that. And she knows that reporting 100% of their cash sales is the right thing to do, and I think standing up for that would be her best option.